Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Relics of War, Season 3, Episode 25. We're just trucking right along. We got some good stuff for you guys tonight, but before we dive into our content, we've got a whole bevy of people joining us this evening. So, want to welcome back our regular co-hosts, Kate. How are you doing, Kate?
Hello, I'm doing
Evie as well.
You can't see me waving, but I'm waving.
We need to get his screen to freeze just with him waving.
That'd be fantastic.
Wait,
And just flash that screen at the beginning of every podcast intro.
Yep.
And we're also joined by Malchior today. How you doing, Malchior?
Doing pretty good.
Excellent. So we got some new stuff to talk about today because holy cow, ArenaNet has been on the warpath. It wears me out just reading through all the forum posts because there's so many. They're so engaged right now. It is fantastic.
Absolutely.
But before we talk about that, let's talk about the new patch preview. So today they announced the next part of the Living World story, which is called The Nightmare Within. So obviously at this point we're progressing into the Tower of Nightmare itself, but what exactly that's going to mean is a little cloudy. So there's been some mention that perhaps it's going to be some open world stuff with some small instances within it.
Yeah, we weren't sure originally. We were thinking maybe it's an instance, maybe it's a dungeon, not sure what it is. And at Barefoot Matthew, also known as Matthew Medina, one of the devs, has confirmed that it's an open world. It's an open world area, but it has some small instances within it. So what that means exactly, I don't know. It seems to be like something akin to the Queen's Gauntlet, where you've got this kind of large open area, and then you can zone in and do different encounters, which will be randomized, is what I'm kind of getting from it, but I'm obviously not sure. We'll have to see.
I just hope it's difficult.
I'm hoping it's basically just group Queen's Gauntlet.
That would be
I've been asking
That'd be
for
pretty
that
good.
since it came
Queen's
out.
Gauntlet was probably one of the most successful current Living World releases.
Yeah, at the same time though, it's Circle of Murder is, I don't know.
Well, it'll be
the Queen's
Tower of
Gauntlet.
Power, so
Well, now we're going up a tower, so instead
Yeah.
of
Oh, well in that case.
go in a straight line.
And Queen's Gauntlet wasn't like the Circle of Murder. Queen's Gauntlet was just the bosses above it. The Circle
Yeah.
of Murder was
So
different.
good.
Yeah.
The Boss Gauntlet was so good.
Well, it's interesting too because I mean, did you guys get a chance to actually look at the background or the? So I mean, obviously in that we've got whatever the heck that giant crate-looking weird thing. Obviously, we've got Scarlet. She's going to be back for this. But then we've also got Clockwork, and we've got the guys from Flame and Frost mixed in there too. So what the heck is going to be thrown into this tower?
All of the things.
it's the Scarlet reunion party.
That's kind of what it seems like. Like
I really hope that it isn't just let's throw all of the things. There better be some way to explain it. Otherwise, it's just going to seem as cheap and artificial.
yeah.
I know the thing that interests me the most about that image is that big dude in the back has 6 eyes.
Right?
Abaddon.
Or Marganites.
Which were Abaddon.
I've heard that the next alliance is going to be Quaggan and Marganite.
Sweet.
So,
I thought it was Quaggan and Mershot.
oh yeah, those two. We can just throw them all in there. We can have a big
Oh,
old
Life
party.
Spark says no.
I approve of killing all of them.
Well, so we don't know. I mean, other than Quagganites, yes, make it happen, Arena.
Yes!
Quagganites. So we don't have a whole lot of details other than we're going to be going in there. We're going to be some kind of random encounters. I mean, I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what next week brings. I'm excited. It has potential. But one of the interesting things, too, is that all of the rewards that they've mentioned so far are actually earned in game. What?
Yay!
They're not pumping the gem store? What happened?
The gem store is getting
They,
the
they
gloves
already
and
they already
whatnot.
released like the few gem store
So
things
they're-
they got over the past couple
Yeah.
weeks.
Mm-hmm.
What was that, Evie?
The gem store already has, like Clint said, already has everything
Yeah.
for this particular patch.
Yeah, so I'm completely okay with this. I mean, they've been promoting new things. I mean, we just saw today that they added new dyes and more new skins and stuff like that to the store. So I like this actually. It's a good balance between pumping the gem store too often and giving us stuff that we can actually earn in game. So along with the rewards, we actually have 2 new minis. One apparently is going to be available only through a very difficult boss, found somewhere within the tower.
Bring it.
Actually, the Dark 2.0.
That's interesting to me, the way they phrased it, and then seeing that it's in the open world or with small instances. Because my interpretation of the tower before we had all this information today was it would be some kind like a labyrinthine type thing as you maneuver your way through the tower, and then the random encounters would be, I don't know, maybe different doors would be open randomly throughout the thing.
Right.
But if it's open world, but then there's a hard to find boss within it, the navigation of it seems very interesting to me.
Maybe they have it set up where there's events to sort of unlock each level of the tower, and
Mhm.
each level of the tower has the instanced rooms, which are the bosses, and you go in there with a pre-organized group.
That would be really cool,
That'd be
especially
cool,
if
yeah.
like completing different combinations of events would open different doors or different levels. That would be really cool, as long as none of them have to fail because exploiting in sadness.
Yeah, that'd be a problem. With RNG elements, they can take this any number of ways. So I'm intrigued to see what kind of rabbit they pull out of their hat.
Absolutely. Along with that, of course, we are getting a gas mask. Hey, because who doesn't
Dips.
like gas?
Engineer dips.
But some have suggested that maybe this is going to be the beginning of seeing exotic underwater masks,
Those
which we
exist.
currently don't have in the game.
I don't care
My
what it is.
My question, though, does anybody care?
No,
I mean, I don't want to sound bad, but I mean, that slot to me is like, throwaway. I
I'm
mean,
so scared we're gonna get ascended like underwater masks, and I will never make one because it'll be kill 2,000 thunder shrimp and mystic forge them and offer them to the god of, I don't know. It would not be a fun experience.
The god of the Quagganites.
Or
Yes,
Yeah.
offer them to Malagan.
Quaggan.
Malagan. Yeah, I mean, it's very cool though. I mean, the mask itself. I mean, it normally they put pictures of like a Sylvari or a human or a Norn, but this time they did actually specifically promote it on a Char character, so we can be rest assured it's not going to have as big of clipping issues for those that play Char.
Yay, that's me.
Here's
I won't
the
wear one of
issue
those.
though. If it's a Char, but it's too big on everyone else.
So then you have the reverse problem. It's like sticking above your head. And
My Sylvari engineer needs that gas mask to
That would be
go
very
with the new gloves and the shoulders that they just released today.
Did you pick up those gloves and shoulders?
Yes!
Did they die nicely? I was looking at them, but they seemed like they wouldn't
Yes!
die.
No, they
Cool.
die great.
I might
Good.
have to look into those then.
I didn't check them out. Sorry.
Like, Sylvari engineer, you don't have many options, so as soon as I saw that thing, insta-grab.
Nice. What do the shoulders look like? Because the gloves you could see on kind of the little preview there, but what are the shoulders? Can you describe them?
Yeah, it's like, there's a lit up section in the center. That's one dye channel, and the second dye channel is like the spores that shoot out of kind of along the edges, and it even kind of drapes down your shoulders a little bit, and that's the second dye channel.
Well, that's cool.
So do they have like crazy particle effects like the radiant shoulders?
Not that crazy, not as crazy as the radiant, but there is a minor particle effect.
Cool.
Nice. Well, that's definitely good to see. The other last thing that we know about this is that we're going to be seeing a 3-part key drop that you'll be able to find and then unlock a hidden chest within the tower somewhere. So kind of reminiscent of the changes to Twilight Arbor
Mhm.
and that path.
Lockpicks.
So, lockpicks.
How are they lockpicks?
And he's just living Guild Wars 1 days.
Yeah.
It's those things that you just have to carry around with you constantly because you never know when you might run into
Right.
the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Taking up valuable inventory space. Yeah. At least things stack, so that's good. But we also do have some interesting lore tidbits here. So one of the questions that was presented when we saw this change was, is Scarlet actually going to be like a Harley Quinn type character where she's just the face for a much bigger baddie that we don't know about yet?
Oh, it's so
The bigger
cliche.
baddie is the thing behind her in the picture.
You guys think?
I can't
really.
imagine just the way Scarlet is. I can't imagine her working for anyone else.
Yeah.
I
it
mean,
seems-
plot
Who-
twist,
who-
she's in
yeah.
alliance with someone else and she makes alliances. I can see the merit in that, but like,
Oh, it's a Lionception.
Oh no.
I really can't see her as a character working with anyone else, especially if she's
I-
all.
Who
I
would
don't know how to
stomach
describe
her?
it.
Seriously.
What was that, Malchior?
Who would stomach her? Her annoying
Someone
voice,
crazier than she is.
her personality. Like, I'm gonna blow up the world. Hee hee. I know about all the myths. Hee hee. No.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about it. I mean, obviously, Harley Quinn still had Joker. So there's someone for everyone. Don't
There's
lose
not
hope, folks.
gonna be a Joker if she's like reports to someone, or if there's some bigger thing behind it. Then
It's like an astronomical scale of thing.
something.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, ArenaNet has said that there is more to Scarlet than just the fact that she's an insane lunatic.
I am hoping she was driven insane by visions of the Messiah.
Ooh, dang!
I'd be down for that.
It gets deep.
Kate.
I don't. I saw the
Kate's
Mersat
like,
a
I'm gonna
lot.
tighten my tinfoil hat a bit.
Yeah, I'll just grab this, protect myself. I don't know. I saw a lot of the Mersat in Guild Wars. I'm okay with them never coming back. I know Evie is a huge fan of the Mersat and is probably like crying right now. I'm done with them. I wiped them off the face of the planet several times.
They were a very good Guild Wars 1 villain, though.
Mhm.
Single tier.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All the tears.
I mean, they have said that they're not done with them yet, but obviously we haven't seen anything that they're doing with them. So maybe they're saving it for some expansion type content.
I remember reading somewhere, I think this was brought up in a conversation on Mumble and not the podcast, but I remember reading somewhere that they haven't come back because Jeff Grubb hates them.
I think it's true, actually.
I couldn't tell you where I read that, but maybe if you look around the internet, you can find it.
But Jeff Grubb's also the one that's confirmed that they aren't done with them yet either.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen him say that in a couple of different interviews and such. So, yeah. Yeah, so good stuff. It'll be interesting to see where they continue to develop Scarlet. I'm glad to hear that she's not just a complete raving lunatic, but she better get with the program and start showing that she's more than that.
Yeah, prove it.
Right. The proof's in the pudding. Okay, but also, so this is completely cool. So if you got a chance to watch the announcement video, you notice the music that was playing was really not what you would expect.
I
Yeah.
cranked so hard when I heard that.
I actually thought, I'm like, man, did another YouTube video start up in the background or something? Like, what's going on?
I started rocking out. I was just like, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
I was waiting for the ominous female voiceover that's become synonymous with the living story. I was waiting for it, and all of a sudden, guitar.
Yeah.
It didn't happen.
But they obviously had a point behind it, so that was appreciated.
Mhm.
They are actually doing a new contest called Rock the Nightmare, where you have a chance to win some unique Guild Wars 2 guitars and SteelSeries gear.
There's
And so
only one
what's-
guitar.
Only one guitar? Okay, so there's
There's
only one guitar.
It is badass.
Go check it out, because that thing is very cool. But so in order to do this, what you have to do, you have to create a music video using the new Nightmares Within song from the trailer, which ArenaNet has graciously made available on their SoundCloud, and then submit it to them. And yeah,
I'm really, really
Good luck.
hoping that the guy I can't. Oh, Jack McDaniel, the guy who does all the Fire of Spirit videos.
Oh God, yes.
I hope he
If he
enters.
if he came back and entered, yes.
He has Guild Wars 2 stuff, just not a whole lot of it. But I if he comes and enters that, I will back him so hard. I don't even care if like we can't as a community vote on it. I will send in my votes to ArenaNet by mail.
Petition.
I love
Snail
all
mail
this
even,
stuff.
right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll
Just
buy
a
the
series
house
of
across the street from the
postcards.
studio and just stare at them through the window.
Yep.
Shh.
ArenaNet,
Some of
please.
us might be doing that already.
We could be neighbors.
So the contest is going to run November 5th through November 26th. So for all you machinima loving, music video creating fans out there, get to creating, give it your best go, and hey, maybe you'll win some really cool swag. Never hurts to try, right?
You're
So, anything else we want to mention about the new Living Story stuff before we move into more strenuous content?
Not that I can think of.
Awesome. All right, so moving on then. So in case you've been living under a rock for the past couple of days, ArenaNet did something very, very, very new for them. They actually gave us pre-release patch notes for what they're considering doing for the December 10th patch changes. Okay, so we're over a month away from this, and they're because they want to get community feedback about these changes. And holy cow, has this thing blown up all over the place. Wow.
and freaking tastic.
All over the crate
It's
too.
awesome. All over the crate, too.
It's blown up all over the crate as well. I mean, you can see their guts everywhere.
Let's see. At this point, I'm opening it up now. It is now 31 pages long.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And
And
that's
not
not
only that-
including the profession-specific ones.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
it's spun off into other threads too.
yeah, because they took each profession's changes and posted it in their individual forums so that they had that specific place there to
Mhm.
do so. Wow. I mean, thank you, ArenaNet, so much, because this is a wonderful chance for us to talk about our reasoning for why we don't like changes instead of just griping about why we don't like changes. And it also gives us a chance to see just what exactly their thinking is. They were very upfront, very clear about, they specifically stated, here's the purpose behind these changes and why we're making these changes. What do you think in return? So did you guys get a chance to look through some of the proposed changes?
I've been looking through the Thief one specifically because that is near and dear to my heart, as we all know. And I have to say, even though I'm not particularly happy about the direction they're going with Thieves, I am so impressed with the community reaction and how everyone is being so helpful feedback. There were a couple posts that were feedback maybe too much on the side of snarky to be useful. There was a guy, I have to say my favorite post about this, there was a guy who said, I'm not going to call it garbage, and then he spelled out reasons that he didn't like it, but the reason spelled garbage down the page, which I really appreciated.
Wow.
That's
But
fantastic.
For every other thing, A+ job, community. Good job. I'm so proud of you guys right now for all of the wonderful feedback and the not complaining.
It speaks volumes when the most immature posts you usually see on there basically boil down to, if you don't like it, play another profession.
Yes, and thank you, Live Spartan, for sharing that link. It's nice to see. So they've even continued updating this as it's been discussed. So, for example, regarding the Thief, vigorous recovery, they're changing it to vigor duration will be 5 seconds instead of 4, and that's all based on community feedback. So our voices are being heard. Amen. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
Yes.
But it just goes to show too that when we can comment constructively, it actually does have a difference on what's going on. So, is there anything else for the thief that's kind of been radically changed?
So
I know
there's two.
is going to try not
Yeah.
to rant about it.
There's a couple big things, but the big sweeping change is that the initiative regen is going to be boosted by 33%, which is holy crap. That's base initiative regen. The downside is they're nerfing almost all of I think actually all of the initiative regen traits to some capacity to prevent over
Power creep,
regen.
basically.
Yeah. So it's really impacting anyone who runs like the optimal thief builds right now. And the other big change is that they're taking Infiltrator's Strike on the sword. So if you're not familiar with Thief, it's a teleport in, and then you use it again, and you teleport out. It's like a shadow step. They're putting a cast time on it, which makes it very not nearly as
on the front or on the back?
On the back.
On the back.
Oh.
The big thing with it is it makes it unusable while you're stunned, which is the main use for it in PvP right now.
Also,
to get out of the situation when you're stunned.
Also, because it's not instant, you can't use it to teleport stomp in PvP.
Here's
I have
the
a
thing.
question. Yeah.
You couldn't use it to teleport stomp before.
No.
The only way you could do that is through the use of another utility, which doesn't make any sense to me. You would have to use your
utility instead of using Infiltrator Strike in return, as well as a utility or steal.
Yeah. So it's as a thief main, it's I'm not sure I'm happy about the changes, especially with the idea comparing thieves and guardians. They've got the same low health pool, but defensively guardians have access to stability and defensive heal skills all over. Thieves,
And
our mobility is our survivability, and nerfing that is a serious impact, even if you're trying to improve the trait lines that do survivability, because that's one of their big goals with this patch, is to make the thief a little more robust. But I really have reservations about how that's going to work. But yeah, I've said my piece. I don't want to say any more.
All right. What about you, Evee?
My piece will be in a blog post because I don't want to be ranty.
I've read the blog post. It's a lot. Evee has a lot of piece to say.
Yeah, the Elementalist. Yeah, the Elementalist one is already at like 1,700 words, and I'm only about halfway through the proposed changes.
Oh no!
So I'm gonna have to do some serious editing.
It's the one that got worked on the most.
Yeah. Before we talk about that, Malchior, how are the engineer changes look? Because your main's an engineer, right?
Yeah. We're getting some. I'll say it, even being an NG, some much needed nerfs to incendiary powder and invigorating speed, because they were in every build. It's like, I have permanent vigor, and every time I crit, I burn you. Well, not every time, but I mean, it's on like a 20% chance, but eventually
it was often
I burn you for free, so who needs flamethrower?
Because it's cool. That's why you need it. But it's not effective.
But like, there's also a big buff to transmute. Is no longer like just 8% random. It's 100% the next time you're hit with a condition, nullify that condition, and it's on a 15-second internal cooldown.
Okay.
So I am taking that everywhere for PvP.
That's interesting, because they did something similar with the Elementalist, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So it's interesting to me that they're promoting kind of these condition nullifying traits.
I'm on the fence about like these passive traits.
Yeah.
Because the Elementalist thing, it's like when you're above 90% health, immune to all conditions. I'm like, what? Where's the?
That's really not as powerful.
It's not that powerful though, unfortunately. That's one hit and you're down below 90%.
I've heard that. I still think someone's gonna find some way to exploit it horribly, if not in PvP, then elsewhere in the game. Because think about like all the mobs or something in the game that apply a condition, or all the structures in the game that apply a condition. There's gonna be somewhere in some format that is terribly broken.
I
I
wonder.
may or may not have already seen someone planning to do that in the volcano fractal.
Really?
Yeah, I was just wondering about fractals and how agony will impact that. Because will you be immune to agony? Agony is technically a
I
condition.
don't believe agony is a condition.
Okay. I hope not, because that would
Could
be
wrong, but yeah.
extremely
Yeah, that would be really bad.
exploity.
Yeah, I mean, is there anything else with engineers
No,
specifically that
that's
stands out? Okay.
pretty much-
So with the elementalist, I mean, I'm really hesitant to talk about this because it's very easy to become negative. ArenaNet's stated goal with the elementalist is they want to promote us from running 30 water, 30 arcane. They want to move people out of the water and arcane traits. But in so doing, I don't think they've actually buffed the other trait lines enough to make to justify going out of arcane or water.
yeah. They
we
said
do have
they
the
were
new-
going.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's
No,
good.
no. All right, well, they said they were going for the low-hanging fruit this time, stuff that they could turn over quickly, wouldn't take a lot of work or redesign, and that they just knew, all right, this is not cutting it right now. And
Yeah, in fact, John Peters in one of the comments in the Elementalist thread said, "We know there are worthless traits that no one wants to take." That's from the developer saying, "Yeah, these traits are completely worthless."
Hmm.
So,
they understand how their game plays.
Yeah.
It just takes time to make the changes, and especially to test the changes in every single aspect of the game
Yeah.
that it could affect.
oh, I mean, without a doubt, it's a huge undertaking. I mean, because you've got to think of all the possible interactions and the interplays and things like that. But we were talking about the new trait that they're adding, Diamond Skin, which will be in the Earth line as a Grandmaster. And I mean, yeah, you could potentially make a complete toughness, complete regen build to try your best to save, to stay above 90%, just specifically so you don't get conditions on you. But but how's your DPS going to be if you do that?
Abysmal.
Yeah, I mean,
And even then, like I'm relatively active when it comes to the theory crafting community, and pretty much every theory crafter is just like at 90%, this trait is going to be near useless.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to have enough healing to be able to sustain themselves above that threshold. And the devs have actually come back and said, we're probably going to lower this a little bit.
Yeah, they've talked about lowering it to perhaps 85. They don't want to go to 80 because they think that would just be completely overpowered. But 85% health might be an acceptable break-even point for that. I think if that was the case, you could then spec a little bit more DPS-wise, and it'd be one of those it's nice to have. Like, oh, okay, well, I can pop off a heal and then I'll negate these conditions type thing.
If they do it right, I could see triple cantrip coming back as water, earth, air.
Yes. Well, especially since they're moving a lot of stuff around for the Elementalist. I mean, I don't know if you guys looked at it, but I mean, it's like we're moving 6, 7, 8 traits from each line all over the place. So Cantrip Mastery is going to the Adept tier. Windborne Dagger is going to the Adept tier. All the weapon traits are all going to the Adept tier in Arcane. So 10
They
points.
need to.
Done. Right. Well, not only that, but they are finally fixing Dagger Mastery so that, hey, it gives you the 25% run speed bonus out of combat.
Lol.
But perhaps the biggest thing, I mean, if they had done just this for that patch, I would be fantastically happy. They are finally fixing lingering elements.
What does that do for those of us who only visit their alley when something needs to be farmed?
So what Lingering Elements does is for 5 seconds after you cast, after you switch attunements, you actually gain the benefit from the previous attunement for 5 seconds. So, additional crit from water, things like that. The problem was it only worked for 2 out of the 4 element swaps.
Whoops.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's been broken since beta. So they finally they'll have that fixed actually for the November 26th patch, according to John Peters. So, I mean, you guys probably can't hear it, but the Elementalist community is crying with joy right now. Tears.
I can hear them.
Oh, it's such a needed. I mean, it's a core thing. Like we needed that to work, and it never did. So it made it such an underwhelming trait to take. But yeah, I mean, there's other things. I mean, obviously we haven't talked about Guardians. We haven't talked about Necromancers.
They're much more straightforward, though. I mean,
they are.
Guardians,
They're much more
they're just
straightforward.
getting pretty much DPS buffs
Yeah.
for just the various traits. Warriors are seeing a DPS nerf when it comes to skills that also control. Necros are seeing a little bit more survivability put in, and condition nerf, not too much of a nerf, but still there.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like kind of
and Mesmers are seeing more support and condition removal, which they've been needing. So.
They have been needing, yeah. So it's kind of weird. Like there's kind of a baseline across the board nerfs to just about everything, with minor buffs here and there. So, but I definitely it's a great continuation of the transparency that ArenaNet has been striving for, and I think the community so far is doing a pretty good job of fulfilling that. So keep up the good work, guys.
That area of the forums is probably some of the most mature of the community I've seen in a long time.
I'm so proud of them. It's not something I've come to expect from the balance forums. I just kind of stay away from there because it's scary and there's people yelling about numbers, which is like my nightmares. But I'm really impressed with everyone. I'm so happy about it.
Yeah. I have seen a little bit in the other forums in their individual threads kind of degenerate a little bit. It's to be expected somewhat. Mm-hmm. But overall, yeah, the community has been absolutely fantastic about this. So yeah. So continue to hit up those forums, continue to leave your feedback. The developers definitely want to hear from you if you have a valid opinion on that. Not that your opinion's not valid, but I already express it in a constructive way.
I already made a post about like suggestions for engineer.
Good job. I haven't posted yet just because I'm still reading through the metric ton of comments on the Elementalist. Oh my gosh, it is I mean, it's almost as long as the official thread.
Wow.
So, all right, well, moving on from that. So we did have something we wanted to address today in our bar brawl.
Fisticuffs.
Bring it.
Bring your dukes, folks. All right. So I was playing my Elementalist, my low-level Elementalist. I'm like Cat. I'm going to be a glutton for punishment and have a million of the same tune. So I was playing with my low-level Elementalist today, running around doing the current living story stuff. And I noticed an interesting change, that getting a revive off of mobs is frickin' impossible now. And it's all as a result because of downing mobs in PvE. So our question for this week is, and chat room, feel free to chime in as well. Do you think downing mobs in PvE is a good thing, a bad thing? Are you indifferent? What do you guys think?
I think it's context dependent.
Okay.
For sure. In group content, absolutely. It's a great way to add another layer of intricacy to a encounter, so to speak. When it comes to facing hordes of mobs out in the open world or by yourself, whatever, not so much. It's just an annoyance. It's basically a second health bar that you have to beat your way through, or channel another skill while something beats on you, which, if you're a thief, is not exactly the best place to be.
All right. What about you, Kat?
I am pretty much in the same boat. I really enjoy the mechanic I'm actually having so much fun downing mobs that I've jumped into PvP to try and get my stag rank because I want a not bunny. I want a deer.
Bunny best
So
rank.
yeah, that's actually inspired me to go play other other parts of the game to have the finishers. And I actually did I finished off my Halloween Mad King
Oh, good job.
finishers with that. So it was some nice synergy between content, and I like it. Though I agree with Evie. It does have to be context dependent, and I wouldn't want to see it on every mob because it makes it annoying. It makes it very difficult to do. But at the same time, I really want to see it on stuff like veterans and champion mobs because oh my god, it is so just darn satisfying to beat that thing into the ground and then stab it. Yeah.
Grr.
I wouldn't
Alright.
even mind seeing stuff like I feel like they could take it even farther and do stuff like when you down a legendary, like maybe you have to have two people finish it in the time window to kill it or something. That could be a new boss mechanic. I'm sold on PvE finishing. I think it could be great for the game.
All right. What about you, Malchior? Thoughts
Um,
on downing
I'm,
in PvP?
yeah, I'm kind of a mix between the two opinions already expressed. I do agree that it is context dependent. I mean, one, it's just going to lose all of its fun flavor if everything in the world can do it. And then second, it only really makes sense for mobs that are semi-sentient. So keep it on the humanoids and things like that.
Kind of like how it is right now with only the Nightmare Court being downed in the Living Story.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I will say it has some prevalence in open world group play. And this is kind of, hey, let's cover up this one kind of flawed or just unclear mechanic, and it's that it's a second health bar. So when you're zerging around killing stuff, imagine like Grenth in Ore or any one of the events in Ore, they had downed health. So now there's a second health bar for you to tag the mobs.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm really mixed about this personally. I like the idea of it when in a group, but if you're a solo player, this absolutely just wrecks your face because it's so hard as a solo player to if you do get into a down state to recover from being downed, because if you can't kill that thing, which most down states you really can't kill that second health bar in time, then it's game over and you're waypointing and repairing your armor and all that junk.
So
I
yeah,
I think it should be limited only to group style content. So
there's a way to do that because that new mob type they introduced, like the elites,
right, the elite. Mm-hmm.
the thing that's within veterans and champions, they only show up within groups.
Yeah. And those should be right. You shouldn't be having to down the little low level, nothing mobs, but make maybe veterans or veterans and up even maybe make those.
Yeah, but you can like
downable.
find veterans out on your own.
Yeah. That's true.
So like elites and champions, that would make and even legendary. So elites and up, that would make perfect sense.
Well, I think you could they could make it so you rally, or you could just learn to fight veterans expecting that they're going to go into the down state. I mean, part of the reason I got downed by a couple of down mobs and we had some throw dirt fights, but I made it. I think just once we're used to the change and expecting it, it would be great. But I still don't want to see it on every mob. I don't want it to become a routine thing. I want it to become something really exciting that I get to use my super cool finisher and bash that thing in the face.
Yeah. It does kind of ramp the difficulty up more than you would expect especially when you're on a lower level character like you displayed when we went into the topic. Because I was playing on my level 40 something Guardian, the solo instance of just unveiling the nightmare. And I got wrecked. I got wrecked hard. And like the few times I could have saved myself was when I tried to rally on them and they went dead instead of defeated, or down instead of defeated.
Down instead of defeated, yeah.
So it might be something that only introduce after a player has reached a certain level in the game, 40, 60, maybe even save it until 80.
I could see that. I think too, keeping it within just group specific content would be the appropriate way of going about it. Group events, dungeons, things like that. On just regular everyday bandits out in Queensdale. No,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Yeah,
No,
I
thank you.
agree.
So, all right. Anything chat room you want to chime in on? I know. So I've seen, some people like Hunter are saying difficulty in PvE. No.
No, I love my difficulty, man.
Absolutely.
The whole point is about difficult content. You want to make it so it's fun for the people who love difficult content, but for the people who would either one, not try it, or two, complain at it, you have to give them the ability to learn, to become better players.
Yeah. That being said, as an elementalist, I can't kill anything while downed.
Yeah.
Which is why my number 2 skill is run away.
Oh, I do have to say, I don't think we talked about this. When mobs go down, they aren't just lying there like downed. They use the one player skill. They use the 4-player skill, and when they use that skill, they call in reinforcements.
Yes, which sucks.
From a very, very long distance.
That can be exploited, though, and that's another, worry I have of introducing more down monsters to dungeons. Because if you'll watch them, you'll see the mob that comes in and tries to resurrect the downed mob. It's set in its script where it's like, I'm gonna get you up, man. I'm gonna get you up, man. I'm gonna get you up, man. It will not stop that behavior until that thing is up, or the guy that's doing the res is dead.
Yeah.
So you can just cleave the body nonstop and kill an entire stack of them. I did that with my grenades easy mode.
Yeah, that might have to be something to look into before it's implemented in dungeons. Otherwise, you could just pull or maybe have it only within the groups. Otherwise, yeah, you could just pull mobs around the corner and just continuously down them.
Yeah, they'll have to set it in.
It's kind of what we do anyway, isn't it?
That's true.
I mean, come on now.
True enough. Maybe
everybody hug the corner.
Maybe they can set it within the AI. If the mob reaches 50%, it goes, oh shit, I'm about to die. I guess I should stop resing my buddy and care about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know the answer to this question. So if you do knock back a rezzing mob, will it immediately run back and keep trying to res? Or will it starting really?
Yeah. I've observed that.
Fix, please. Because a mob that gets knocked back, I mean, at that point, they should just say, nope, that's it. I'm going to start beating on your face instead.
Because they follow their original script. And this is one thing I kind of do. I try to observe AI behaviors just because it can help my play, and it's usually essential for harder content like dungeons. Yep. And it's done similar that the Aetherblade were in the what was the almost challenge mission thing released with the Zephyr Sanctum? I forget what it was called. Anyway, you can knock them away, but even though they're not at the drop point anymore, they send the supplies straight back up to the ship. Just like that. They just keep on trying to res.
Interesting. All right. Yeah, so we'll see what they continue to do with it. I mean, I like the introduction, but I think it still needs some work. But it's okay. I like that they're playing with it.
Yep.
So, okay, so somebody in our notes put pro tip. Who was it?
It was Shungaku?
A farmer.
Okay. I don't know.
I don't know what this is about, so someone's going to have to
I can tell you a little bit. Okay, it was Shungaku. Okay. If you're doing key farming, and if you're not familiar with this, you can actually farm Black Lion keys somewhat. This is Known by ArenaNet, not an exploit. It's all good. You can create characters, run them through the early level living story, and at the level 10 living story, you're presented with a Black Lion key. So if you want to grind the story over and over and over and over to get keys, you can do that. The popular theory that I knew was to roll a human warrior and run it through the commoner story. Shungaku says run a ranger, and that's his pro tip. I don't have any experience.
Has he bothered to explain why?
Because
Yeah,
of the
what's-
pet tank.
Oh, that would mean you
But
could
I
do
know-
higher level living story before being that
Yeah,
level.
even but with the warrior, I know you can do like 20-minute runs per key, which is a lot per key, which is why I
Wow.
will never grind it.
Yeah.
But you can just take your human warrior, create it, go straight through the story. You'll be level 4 when you get to the level 10 story because
Have fun with that.
warriors can do whatever they want because they're warriors. But
I'm
yeah,
just gonna throw on a hammer and just keep knocking away, downing, and yeah. Interesting.
That can't be easy though.
No, I'm sure it probably takes a bit of practice and skill. I mean, you got to learn what mobs are there and what they're gonna do, and I don't know. It just seems you'd be surprised. Eric says, Shiganku says.
If they earn it,
Hey, more power to you.
well,
I mean, if
that's
you
what I was
wanted,
about to say.
yeah. If
Absolutely.
you wanted, if that's how you want to spend your time in game, hey, I think that's perfectly acceptable.
Mhm.
That's not something I would ever care to do personally. So, but hey, so there's your quick tip quickie for the week. If you want to farm keys, try it on a human commoner ranger. There you go.
Yay! I completed something good to eat finally.
Congrats. All right. So finally, we want to close up with some community corner stuff. We want to point out that we will have a very special article coming soon.
.jpg.
Soon.jpg. Yeah, actually, soon TM.
Yep.
So you'll definitely want to be checking that out. I can't say any more about that at the moment. Sorry.
Yeah,
You'll just have to keep your eyes peeled.
if you haven't been to our homepage recently, go check it out because not only do we have fantastic articles from Washed about anything and everything, we also have Evee posting now, and we've got some more stuff coming soon. So definitely check that out if you haven't been around to our homepage for a while.
Yeah, there's going to be some pretty big changes that I'm super excited about. So definitely pay attention to that. You can find us at relicsofore.com. Also, check out the Twitter. You can always follow us there to get updates, brawl questions, random shenanigans, all kinds of fun stuff. That's at Relics of Ore. I assume we have Facebook. We have a G+ page. We're kind of all over the place.
Yep.
So follow all the things. Of course, also check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Relics of War. You can find the podcasts and more fun stuff. So, yeah. So anything else? Any final thoughts or comments that you guys want to plug or put together for the end here?
My face will return next week.
Where can we
Yes.
find Malchior if we're interested in hearing
Oh
more
yeah,
from him?
Malchior. What about you?
I have a Twitter at Malchior Devon. I don't know what part of display is visible for the cast, but it should be down there by my awesome Melchior sprite. Hey man, don't be hating on the Major Time.
Watch out!
He'll Masamune your face.
Yeah, that's good stuff. All right, well, I guess that will kick us off. Thanks again, Malchior, for joining us.
Thank y'all for the invitation.
Absolutely. And we will see you all next week. For those in the chat room, feel free to stick around as we're going to continue to, I don't know, goof off, I guess. But
Yep.
until then,
Post show.
we'll
Discuss
see y'all
things.
later.
Peace out.